It starts the same way every time. A young man vanishes after a night out, happy, healthy, full of promise. Weeks later, he's found dead in a river. Accidental drowning? Maybe. But what if it wasn't an accident? What if dozens of these deaths across the US were connected by a sinister signature? A crude, eerie smiley face painted near where the bodies were discovered? Welcome to the terrifying theory of the smiley face killers. Before we dive into this modern mystery, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you never miss a deep dive into the strange, the unsolved, and the spine-chilling. Let's unravel one of the most disturbing urban legends of our time. Or is it something more? A string of drownings? The story begins in the late 1990s with two retired New York City detectives, Kevin Gannon and Anthony Duarte. They started noticing a chilling pattern. Young, athletic, college-age men were vanishing after nights of drinking in Midwestern cities like Minneapolis, La Crosse, and Chicago. Their bodies would be found days or weeks later, floating in nearby rivers or lakes. At first glance, they were ruled as accidental drownings. The victims were often intoxicated after all. But Gannon and Duarte weren't convinced. Too many similarities, too many coincidences. And then they spotted something that changed everything. Graffiti of a smiley face, left near several of the recovery sites. Who are the victims? The alleged victims of the smiley face killer, or killers, are almost always the same demographic. White males, early 20s, good students, athletes, social, with no history of mental illness or violence. Men like Patrick McNeil in New York, Chris Jenkins in Minnesota, and Dakota James in Pittsburgh. Each case followed the same timeline: a night out, a mysterious disappearance, a river recovery. Their deaths were quickly labeled as drownings and closed. But families began asking, how did they get to the water? Why were their bodies missing for so long? And why did so many look staged? The graffiti and the symbol. The key to the theory lies in a chilling detail. Smiley face graffiti found near over a dozen death sites. Often faded or hidden, the faces were spray painted on bridges, tunnels, or trees close to where the bodies were discovered. Sometimes simple, sometimes distorted, the smiley face became the calling card. Investigators also claimed to find other symbols nearby, like devil horns, arrows, and messages hinting at death or drowning. Gannon and Duarte believed this pointed to a larger, organized group, possibly a cult or network operating across states. Is there a nationwide serial killer ring? The idea sounds like something from a horror movie. A group of killers connected through the dark web or some twisted ideology, working in sync to commit undetectable murders. According to Gannon, the level of coordination, target selection, and the cleanup suggested military-level planning. They believe these aren't random acts but ritualistic drownings carried out by multiple individuals across the country. And the smiley face? Their cruel signature, mocking the police, the victims, and the public. Suspicious details in the autopsies. Many families requested second autopsies, and what they found was disturbing. Some victims had unexplained bruises, ligature marks, or even signs of being held before death. In some cases, the body showed less decomposition than expected, suggesting they were kept somewhere before being placed in the water. And more chilling, some toxicology reports showed no alcohol at all, contradicting the assumption that the victims drunkenly wandered into a river. Could these men have been drugged? Held captive? The inconsistencies keep piling up. Critics and skepticism. Not everyone buys the smiley face killer theory. The FBI released a statement in 2008 saying they found no evidence of a serial killer or organized group involved in these deaths. To them, it was all tragic but explainable. Alcohol, poor weather, disoriented young men, classic recipe for drowning. And what about the smiley faces? Many argue it's one of the most common graffiti tags in the world. More coincidence than clue. Some victims' families have even said they don't believe in the theory, preferring to remember their loved ones without conspiracies. A mother's search for truth. One of the loudest voices calling for answers is Pam James, mother of Dakota James. In 2017, Dakota vanished after a night out in Pittsburgh. Surveillance showed him walking through the city, but then he vanished. His body was found 40 days later in the Ohio River. Pam believes her son was murdered. He was a strong swimmer, the water was shallow and there were no signs of drowning. The official report said accidental death, but Pam pushed for further investigation and connected with Gannon's team. She wants justice, not just for Dakota, but for all the young men like him. Digital clues and possible connections. In recent years, some theorists have suggested the killers may be using apps and social media to stalk their targets. Victims were often last seen using rideshare services, posting stories, or texting friends. Could their digital footprints have been monitored in real time? One chilling theory claims that certain patterns in GPS data suggest detours or gaps, moments where the victim wasn't walking, but being transported. If true, this would suggest a level of planning far beyond random chance. Geography of fear. The alleged Smiley face killer trail stretches across more than a dozen states, from Wisconsin to Pennsylvania, Minnesota to Iowa. Almost all the deaths occur near college towns, usually with a large river or body of water nearby. Some maps created by investigators show clusters that appear too tight to ignore. And in several locations like La Crosse, Wisconsin, the same river has claimed multiple young men over the years, always under similar conditions. Are these cities hunting grounds, or just hotspots for unfortunate accidents? Media coverage and cultural impact. The smiley face killer theory has fascinated and frightened people for over 2 decades. Books, documentaries, and podcasts have tried to connect the dots, including the Oxygen series, The Smiley Face Killers, The Hunt for Justice. The theory taps into something primal, the fear that we're being watched, stalked, and no one's noticing. Whether real or not, the idea that someone or a group could commit dozens of murders in plain sight has gripped the public like a vice. We're left wondering, are we being paranoid, or finally waking up to something darker than we imagined? Suspicious delays in body recoveries. One of the most haunting patterns in these cases is the delayed discovery of the victims' bodies. Often they're found in rivers or lakes weeks after disappearing, but with minimal signs of decomposition. Forensic experts have pointed out that based on water temperatures and environmental conditions, the bodies should be in far worse shape. This has led some to theorize that the victims weren't in the water the whole time. They were possibly held somewhere else, then placed in the river shortly before being found. If that's true, it suggests a horrifying level of control and planning. The timeline gaps are disturbing, and they leave behind more questions than answers. Involvement of online communities. In recent years, Reddit forums, Discord groups, and YouTube channels have become hotspots for amateur sleuths diving into the smiley face killer theory. Digital detectives map locations, compare autopsy reports, and analyze timelines, trying to find the thread that ties it all together. Some online users have even identified similar symbols across multiple cities beyond the smiley face. Others claim to have been stalked or harassed after posting their theories. The internet has amplified both the reach of this mystery and the paranoia surrounding it. Is it collective obsession or the digital age exposing something no one else will? Law enforcement, divided and defensive. Law enforcement agencies across the states have been largely dismissive of the theory. Many departments insist these deaths were isolated, fueled by alcohol, cold weather, and poor decisions, not foul play. But their reluctance to reopen cases or acknowledge patterns has sparked outrage among victims' families. Some retired officers have sided with Gannon and Duarte, claiming they too noticed strange overlaps in their jurisdictions. Others accuse the theory's believers of causing unnecessary panic. But when the body count rises and the questions remain unanswered, it's hard not to wonder. Is law enforcement ignoring a terrifying truth or protecting us from one? Conclusion: accidental drownings or calculated killings. So, what do you believe? Are the smiley face killers real, an underground network of predators hiding in plain sight? Or is it all a coincidence, a tragic pattern misunderstood as something more sinister? The police may have closed the files, but families are still asking questions. And until we have solid answers, the theory remains alive, like the eerie graffiti that started it all. One thing's for sure, the rivers still hold their secrets, and someone might still be watching. Thanks for watching. If this story sent chills down your spine, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more true crime, unsolved mysteries, and disturbing deep dives. Have a theory about the smiley face killers? Drop it in the comments below.